and welcome back to another remote Nordic exercise session. Following on from Wednesday's class, we're going to still be thinking about our movement, but we're going to be doing more stretching today, so trying to stretch in different positions. You need to have a chair or a bench or something that's not going to move, that's a sort of decent height, as we're going to be using that to stretch against to start with. So if you need to press pause, do, otherwise we'll start the lesson. Before I start though, remember that these are designed for Nordic Walking East Anglia clients who have learnt these exercises face to face with myself or Mary. Just remember to moderate them to your level and pause if you need to. So we don't need our poles. First of all, we're going to think about mobilising the ankles and really it's doing a stretch we normally do with our poles, but actually because we're using the bench we can increase the stretch even more. So we're going to start sort of arm's length away from the bench, so that when you're resting on the bench, you're in a leaning position. So my feet are hip width apart, and I'm in a nice straight line from my heels to the crown of my head. Imagine you're in a triangle, so there's a straight line here, the diagonal line, and then the bottom is the bottom of the triangle. So even in this position, if I engage my core, I can feel my abdominals having to work hard to hold this position. So my heels are flat on the ground. So we're now going to come up onto our toes. We're trying to open out our, so you're really getting a nice stretch down the front of the shin, all the way into the front of the ankle. So a really nice stretch. And then we're going to rock back onto our heels and pick up our toes. And in this position again, I can get a much stronger stretch. I've got something to hold on to help my balance, and I can feel it all the way down the back of my legs. So back onto your toes. So we spend a lot of time in a flexed ankle position, and whether we're driving or sitting or whatever, and actually we want to try and open this and loosen this off, especially before we take exercise, but just to keep doing it regularly is really good for us. So a couple more like this. So back up, stretching the front of the ankle, really opening it. I'm on my tippy toes and lengthening as tall as I can, and then I'm going back and stretching down the back of the leg. So one more with the open ankle. Really feel that stretch. You can squeeze your calf at the same time. Okay, so then we're going to move into a back stretch position, but we're going to use the bench rather than the poles. You may need to shuffle your feet slightly further backwards, and your bottom goes out with a straight back. And today we're going to have the legs straight. So sometimes we do a back stretch with the knees bent, and sometimes we have the legs straight. So I can really feel this down the back of all the way down the back of my legs. So just breathe into the stretch. If you're not far enough away, you can shuffle your feet a bit further, and you're trying to lift your tailbone up and away behind you. So as you hold the bench, you're trying to sort of lengthen your torso away from your hands. So increasing the stretch in your back. So keep breathing all the way through it. And then we're just going to pick up our toes, and we're going to swivel our heels round to the right, okay? And then we're going to come back down and stretch again at this slight angle. So our feet are parallel, they're pointing to the left, and our bottom is lengthening away behind us to the right. So keep breathing through that stretch. It'll feel slightly different to the other side. So picking up the toes again, swiveling all the way around to the left, heels pointing to the left. My hands are in the same position, but now my bottom is going back to the left, and I can feel that stretch down my right hand side. So keep breathing. That tummy engaged. One more to the right, so up, swivel round, drop the heels, and then sink back. Try and keep that back as flat as possible. Keep breathing. And then last one, up and over with the heels back down to the left. Try and think about your shoulders being away from your ears and lengthening that tailbone away behind you. Brilliant, and then slowly back to the middle. And then as we do with the back stretch, you bend the knees, tuck your chin in, tuck your bottom under you, bring your hands down, and then slowly, slowly roll all the way to the top into a big shoulder roll backwards and forwards. So next we need our poles. I'm just going to move the bench out of the way for a second. So next we're going to do a pole reach. So feet nice and wide, poles above your head, and then we're going to just reach up with my right hand, trying to lengthen all the way down my side. Brilliant, and then back, and then reach up with my left hand. Again, I'm lifting the opposite heel off so I can really increase that stretch, but I'm staying balanced and relaxed. So a couple more each side. And one more. So we're just going to add to it this time. We're going to do the reach, but we're going to twist around behind us. Slowly back to the front. So do the reach and then twist around behind you. Slowly back to the front. So poles down into a nice big shoulder roll, backwards and forwards. So it wouldn't be right not to do some sit stands. So we'll have the poles to the side, feet hip width apart, and we'll just do 3 sets of 10. So again, if you think that 3 sets of 3 is enough for you, or 3 sets of 5, that's more than all right, but we'll aim for 3 sets of 10. So stop when you need to. So weights in the heels. Wonderful. Focus on something in the distance, rather than worrying about how many you're doing. I think we're on 7 now. 8, 9, 10. Take a break, maybe look at a different angle so you've got something else to look at, and then when you're ready, go into the next set of 10. So firing up through those glutes, heels. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well done. Give those legs a rest. And then if you've had enough, don't do any more, or we're actually going to do the last set. We're going to change it slightly and do 5 on one leg and 5 on the other leg. So this is a single leg squat. So toes are down, you're coming into that seated position or as low as you feel comfortable, but you're basically just using one leg to get you up again. Have the poles if you need them. It's testing on the balance. 4, 5, and the other side. Keep that foot nice and flat on the ground. Go as slowly as you need to. 2, 3, 4, 5. Really well done. That's enough leg work for today, as I promised it was going to be more of a stretching session. So we're going to use our poles for the next stretch. So we're going to move on to an abductor stretch. So imagine that you're standing between 2 sheets of glass. Both feet are facing forward, nice and wide between your feet, nice wide gap. So then we're going to bend one leg and just stretch the inner thigh. So lean into that side and try and think about lengthening the inside of the leg. So your back is nice and straight, all my weight is on my right leg. I'm breathing into it. It's quite a strong stretch. I don't often get stretched our inner thighs unless we actually do it purposefully. And over to the other side, and really encourage that stretch on the inside of the leg. So a couple of big breaths. Give those legs a shake, and then we're going to use the poles, and we're just going to remember that folding over the imaginary football and rolling down our legs. Take a big breath in at the bottom, and then we're going to swing our poles to the outside of our right leg. Just encourage them as round as far as we can. You can feel a really strong stretch in the outside of the bottom of the calf on the right leg. Take a few breaths in this position. Try not to collapse in the middle. Those shoulders away from those ears. And then slowly swing round to the outside Again, the usual protocol of unlocking the knees, chin to chest, big breath in, and very slowly come to the top. Into a big shoulder. Well done. So we're just going to finish off with a nice stretch for the back with our W. So hands up into that W position. Try and think about trying to be as far back as your ears. So as we breathe in, our hands go up. And as we breathe out, we're going to bring our elbows to our waist. Keep those hands coming as far back as you feel comfortable. Try not to flare out the ribs. And a couple more. And last one. Into a big shoulder roll. So next we're going to move on to one of my favourite balancing exercises. So feet nice and wide apart. We're going to come into that sort of star position and then lengthening. So get your position, shoulders away from the ears, trying to be as long as you can from your hands to your feet. And then we're going to bring, if you're able to balance on one leg, you can either have the foot down, just resting, or we're going to try and lift the leg. So again, draw those shoulders down. Think about engaging your core, tucking your tailbone under you. We're going to try and stay in this position. So focus on something that's not moving. Keep your toes spread on your supporting leg and breathe. So think about those shoulders. Think about engaging the abdominal muscles to help with your balance. Your ankle will be fighting. It'll be, working hard to maintain this position. Don't worry if you need to rest the foot or come out of it and come back into it. Really good. So we'll do another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. So big shoulder roll. Give that leg a shake. Give that foot a wriggle. So onto the other side. Nice wide stance. Poles go up as high as you can, but again bring those shoulders down. So that right hand and right toe are as far apart from each other as possible. And when you're ready, engage those tummy muscles and lift the foot off. So one side will definitely feel more wobbly than the other. Don't worry, that's completely normal. You should be using your glutes to help hold your leg up and your tummy to stabilise you. If you're waving or wobbling, it's something that really comes with practice, although actually in lessons I normally find everyone takes to this quite easily and there's no one else to push us off today. Keep that tummy muscle engaged. I'm definitely finding this side harder than the other one. I know that one side my glutes are stronger than the other. So keep those toes spread and we'll do our countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Really, really well done. Give that leg a bit of a wriggle and the legs a shake. So we'll finish off with a big breath in and a big shrug of the shoulders. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you have a lovely weekend in this sunny weather and good celebrating BE Day. Thank you very much and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.